Where'll you be going?
Texas?
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Go on, make it happen.
And now here's Steve and Michelle.
Welcome from the heart of Dripping Springs. We are Mallet and Michelle, hosted by me, Michelle Lewis, and Steve Mallet.
Welcome back from the left coast, Michelle. Got to thank our sponsors, M. Elliott Studio,
Nomic Power Solutions,
Capital Farm Credit,
and Mallet Integrity Team.
Hey, our guest today, Stacey Hogge. We had Joe on, her husband.
A couple of times.
Yeah, a couple times. And now Stacey's going to join us. And I guess she's got like 3 different businesses.
She's a very smart lady.
Yeah, super nice
and
too.
She is, I just adore her, and I'm very lucky to call her my friend.
Well, good.
So,
hey, you just got back from the communist city of Portland,
Oregon. You know what? It was interesting. I was trying to look at it because you told me what your experience was, and I wanted to have my take on it. First off, the airport is amazing.
It's a great airport. Yeah, no problem with the airport at all.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. The good food in the airport too. It is like you have to walk 10 miles from your gate.
It's a long way. Yeah, it's a good workout.
So it was
actually Holly and I, because we have those Garmin watches, we always joke, "Oh, we should start our watch when you drop off your car," because it's like a mile and a half.
It did tell you there were signs that said it's an 8-minute walk.
I didn't see that. But
yeah, so that was really cool. But my take, as I was trying to look at it as from a mom standpoint, kind of similar to when I dropped Tate off right after boot camp in New Orleans, and I was thinking, I can't believe I'm leaving my child in this godforsaken city.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to look at it from different eyes, like, okay, what is the appeal? So Tate, just to kind of recap, we were going to Portland for his white coat ceremony at Oregon.
He's going to be a doctor.
He's going to be a doctor at Oregon State and Health University, or is it Oregon Health and stuff? I can't remember. It's OSHU.
Some fancy school in Portland.
Yes, it's OSHU. And so we watched him get his white coat put on. It was really cool with 100 plus of his students. It's a really small class. But it reminded me a little bit of a seedier New York City, if I had to put it in perspective. And I think New York City actually was a little bit cleaner in some areas.
When were you, last time you were in New York? Was that last year?
March.
Was it this year?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, February,
so
March.
I would say I would not disagree with you. I'd say a seedier New York probably sums it up.
Yeah, the food, amazing.
There's some good food there.
Amazing. Yeah. We had some great food there.
I think that Portland and Austin are similar in that regard, in the food area.
We saw some tweakers. That was interesting. Some zombie tweakers.
Were they the ones that are like bent over at the waist? Uh-huh. Like, that's crazy, isn't it?
It's sad. It broke my heart.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Because I had my mom hard hat on, and it broke my heart for these people. And then we went and saw the falls, the Multnomah Falls. I remember you said it's like a big tourist trap. It was, but I was trying to block those out, and I was just trying to look. It was beautiful. The drive up there was really pretty. We also went to the Mount Hood area. We went to Hood River, and I stuck my feet in the water. And
it's cold.
Oh my goodness, it was
cold.
Very cold. It was beautiful though. The vegetation. Todd and I, one day we went to the Rose Garden. Oh,
I saw some pictures of that. That looked like a lot of fun.
So cool. And we talked to this volunteer, this guy, and we asked him like what his favorite rose was, and he said the best smelling rose. It was over 10,000 roses, over 600 species of roses. And he said the Barbara Streisand rose was his favorite smelling.
Never heard of that.
I went over there and smelled it, and it was next to the Queen Elizabeth roses, and it was very rosy. Very
fragrant.
Very rosy. Like it was almost smelled fake. It was so fragrant. That was really, really cool. Tate and them live in Eastmoreland, which is a bunch, like 100-year-old homes, Tudor homes, gingerbread homes. Yeah. So really
There's
cool.
a lot of history there in Portland. That is one thing.
So the cool thing is in the area that he lives in. So I told Madison, I said, my daughter-in-law, I said, I wonder if there's any Sears kit homes here. And she didn't understand what that meant. And I said, no, back in the day, blah, blah, blah. Explained to her that you'd
mail order. So for our listeners, you could order a home from Sears and they would deliver
Yeah.
it and you just basically put it together.
It was like $1,500-$1,600.
Yeah.
There are a couple of still standing kit homes there, Sears homes, because the Sears manufacturing plant was actually in Oregon. So
I
it
didn't
was
know that.
really
Well, that makes sense because lumber.
yeah, I didn't know that
A lot
either.
of lumber comes from Oregon.
But the cool thing is, in their neighborhood was the first all-electric house. And
Oh, really?
so back when this kid won an essay contest and they gave him $15,000 and they built this house. It's on Reed Street. And they used to sell tickets so people could come in and see what the future looked like of all electric. But
It would be like us going into a computer controlled house with I'm sure that was like blowing their minds.
like going to Disney World and going into the.
What do you mean the oven you don't have to light it, you just turn it on and it cooks your food?
It is interesting though, living or staying in a 100-year-old house, because there's one outlet, for everything.
And every time you move, everybody in the house knows you're moving.
Everybody knows you're moving. And there's like creepy little weird doors to nowhere. And you're like, ooh, what's this? She had this vent in her dining room. And I go, what is this for? And there's a basement. And she goes, I don't know what that's for. And I don't even want you to tell me what's that for.
Don't ask, don't
She
tell.
has one closet that she calls the Toby closet. And it's like apparently a reference to some scary movie. And
great.
I don't know. But
So did you like Portland? Did you
I felt
think, I can't wait to go back?
Okay, well, Todd and I walked around on Hawthorne Street, which is, we walked during the day. We didn't walk at night. I definitely will go back because Tate's there. His area I felt very, very safe on. By the hospital and by the school, it was beautiful. His white coat ceremony was at Portland State University, and that's a beautiful campus. I did feel safe. It's just using common sense, just like anything else.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did see, which I thought was kind of funny. I saw more people carrying water bottles than
It's a big thing, isn't it?
it was the craziest
They
thing.
probably sell more Nalgene water bottles in Portland than any other place in the entire world.
It was nuts. Like Cedric and I were talking earlier, and I was like, Cedric, do you ever even remember drinking water when you were a kid?
I know.
Like,
yeah. And then when we did, we just went and found a hose somewhere
water
and
hose.
drank out of the hose. Yeah.
But I am very glad you gave me the recommendation to go to Powell's bookstore,
was
and I
great,
went to
wasn't it?
both of them.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, that was a cool experience. I have always been a book reader, but it's gotten hard. I don't know why. The older I've gotten, probably social media and crap that I'm on. But it was really neat. Some
It's
of the
cool.
books. Yeah, I was excited.
like a Disneyland for books. It's every book you ever imagined you could find there.
Yeah, and it rained. And here's the other thing. They live right by a golf course, and it seems like trees just randomly fall all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. So they had like this flash rainstorm, and Todd goes, "Oh, did you see the tree that was down there?" I was like, yeah. So
Well, that's the other thing. There's so many trees in Oregon. Like every place where something could grow, there's a tree that's 8 feet across. They're everywhere.
it was beautiful. I do have to say, amongst all of the beauty and having my kid live there and his wife, they're not my people, and that's okay. They don't have to be my people, and that's why. But I would go back, and we're supposed to go to Canyon Beach and go a little bit further out. And go explore more.
I've said, and on the show a couple times, Portland's not my favorite, but you get just outside of Portland, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous state.
Yeah,
it's really a pretty place.
It was really beautiful. We were having a hard time. We wanted to find like a central location, like a 6th Street or a Rainy Street or something like that, where we could just walk up and down for have a drink.
I don't know if there was anything like that.
It was kind of hard to find live music.
Yeah, I don't think that's what they're known for.
There's tons of coffee places there.
Yeah, I know. Huh?
And do you want to know a little fact about Portland? Because I got this little fact book. Portland has the highest concentration. We didn't go to one. Have the highest concentration of strip clubs of anywhere in the United States.
I thought you were going to say medical marijuana.
Oh no, there's those too.
Yeah, I bet that they have more of those. I guess it's not even medical marijuana now. It's just marijuana.
Yeah. I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They're on every street corner. But
yeah, but it was
while
cool.
you were away, I got on Instagram. Yeah, I hate Instagram. And I started getting videos for this Demure thing.
Very demure, very mindful, very cutesy.
I can't turn them off now either. So what is that all about? I'm like, I don't even know. I read somewhere that it's like this huge TikTok trend.
Yeah, there was this woman on TikTok, and she's getting ready for work, and she's like, ladies, I'm getting ready for work. My nails are very demure. My dress is very mindful. My outfit is very cutesy.
She was serious, wasn't she?
Yes, but I mean, serious, but not serious. And so, like with everything that's stupid on TikTok, or not everything stupid, but with most things that are stupid, it's gone viral. And so
now everybody's copying it?
Let me tell you, we said that so many times this weekend. Logan and I, we were like, oh, look at the bookstore. It's very demure, very mindful. Like he'd walk out with something he's wearing. I was like, very cutesy. So yeah, it's saying.
Can that trend be over, please? Can that have had its 48 hours
Steve,
and gone?
You've had one weekend of very demure.
I actually had like 5 minutes of it.
Do you know what demure means? Do you know what that, like, what are you thinking that means?
God. It means tastefully elegant.
Yeah, like modest, like reserved in your dress.
Yeah.
But, okay, here's the thing. I think it's kind of a parody because there's so many things that aren't demure, aren't modest, aren't cutesy, right? And so
now everybody's making fun of it and saying, look at my above ground pool. Isn't it demure?
If you, do you know who Pookie is?
No idea who Pookie is.
Okay, now say it louder and then your phone's going to pick it up. But there's Pookie.
No.
And so I think it's this husband and wife, and he's like, oh, here's my Pookie, and look at, oh my goodness, she's smoking hot. Look at her outfit. Her shoes are by Chanel, and her hair, that's very demure, very mindful, very cutesy. Yeah. Now I know it annoys you.
I weep for what the world is becoming some days. I know. And then I catch myself on it for 10 minutes, and I think that's 10 minutes of my life I will never get back again.
Well,
I should read a book.
Yeah, read a book, Steve. Yes. You took me to the largest
bookstore in the world.
And you didn't bring back a boatload of books.
No, that's true, because we would have had to pack them, and we didn't have any room. I have some serious news, and you brought it to my attention a week and a half or so ago first, and then I kind of been digging into it. The Gateway Trailer Park off of Hayes Country Acres.
Yes.
So that property was sold.
Yes.
And I don't know how many.
I think it's sold twice since the original person.
May have, yeah. I don't know how many trailers are in there, but it's one of those trailer parks.
40 to 50?
Yeah, I don't know if it's that many.
Okay.
But it's quite a few.
Okay.
And those folks, I believe all of them own their trailer, and they're renting the space that it's on, and the septic hookups and all that. And it's going to be developed. And the developer sent all of them letters saying, you're on a month-to-month lease. You have 60 days to get off the property.
To vacate.
Yeah, to vacate. And of course, they all panicked. And, this is not like they have to just move their stuff. They have to find a home for their mobile home.
Yeah, and a lot of like mobile homes or trailers, they can't be older than a certain age, or these trailer parks won't take them. Otherwise, you're grandfathered in.
Right. And there's also the cost of moving them. And, some of those are so old, they may not even make a trip to
and they're on
someplace
fixed
else.
Incomes. And yeah.
So there were some people posting. They were kind of panicked. And there are quite a few people in our community that have gathered together and said, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's not right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably not the way that should have been handled. And so some of the churches and some of the nonprofit groups have been getting together to help these folks move, but also to negotiate with the developer and say, look, can you slow down the roll a little bit and give these folks a chance to make some good decisions about where to go rather than just kicking them out on the street?
I know Mayor Folds.
Yes, Mayor Folds has been involved. There's been Hometown Missions has been involved.
Carrie,
Project Connect has been involved. So the good news is the developer is open to helping these people. I don't know exactly how long, but they've agreed to extend out when they have to be off the property. I think it's a good example of this community pulling together to help people in time of need and doing it in a way that's not very confrontational. I think they approached the developer and said, hey, look, it's your land. You could do what you want, but what about these things? And the developer has been agreeable on
There
that.
were some pitchforks and
There always
fires.
is those in the beginning.
But I think bottom line, the worker bees got it done, and they got it done rather quickly. And I can commend them. I know that Carrie, I'm probably going to butcher her last name, and I would really like to get her on the podcast at some point. Naprokowski. She was one of the ones.
I think that's the right way to say it.
But socially, she's the one that kind of spearheaded this or let people be aware of that. And, she should be commended for that.
Well,
I don't think she had a dog in that fight, but except to help people out.
Those folks are going to have to move, unfortunately. But now they can make a better decision about where to go instead of just panicking and moving their trailers or just leaving them there and having somebody else deal with them. So I'm hoping in the end of all this, it's a feel-good story.
That's got to be very frightening to be in that position.
I agree.
If you really look at it, and you're
some of those people have been there
years,
a long time.
decades.
Yes. So
speaking of decades,
we'll keep you updated on that. Hopefully, that's gonna be something we can report very good things about in the future.
Yeah. Well, do you you know who James Avery is?
Yes, of course. This wedding ring right here, James Avery.
You know what? This ring, this bracelet, probably these earrings. Is this necklace?
Looks like it.
Todd's wedding ring is from James Avery, which we bought 31 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, James Avery is celebrating 70 years in business. James Avery himself passed away several years ago, but it's still a family-owned company, and it's really kind of a Texas tradition. I bet you probably had never even heard of James Avery until you moved to Texas.
Yeah, no, I heard about it. It was a walk to Emmaus. They had those.
Okay,
they had the
fisherman's
bracelets. Yeah, so maybe I was in Texas when I first heard of it.
Do you have a bracelet?
I don't wear it, but I have one. Yeah.
You do? I didn't know that. Well, again, like I said, they celebrated 70 years. They started in 1945. James did in his mother-in-law's garage in Kerrville.
Wow.
Funny.
That's right. I did hear that they were from Kerrville.
He's known as the jeweler of the Texas Hill Country, but he's known as Jeweler in the Hills, as that's what he was called. But he originally started off selling his jewelry at local church camps or summer camps around Kerrville. I know my husband, Camp Flaming Arrow was YMCA camp over there. He was a camp counselor for a long time. So that's how he first got started, not in 1945. But in 1957, he hired his first employee, and then he printed his first catalog. So I bet you still get your catalog.
I do. I get the catalog all the time, yeah.
But in the rings, which I found was interesting, there's always a 925 printed or a sterling printed inside of the rings or anything that they have. The 925 stands for 92.5% fine silver content, which I didn't know that.
Okay.
It's always had kind of the faith-based designs. 20% of the designs. Your phone is going off.
It's on Do Not Disturb. I don't know why.
Do we need to answer? Do we need to pause and answer?
No.
Are you sure?
It's obviously spam, but I don't know why.
Can Kendall not get a hold of me?
Maybe that's what it is. What it is. Yeah.
But back to the faith-based designs. 20% of their designs, like what you were talking about, the bracelets, are crosses, chalices, doves, and fishes.
Oh yeah.
And they were commissioned for two special events. Well, actually, three of the two. The Apollo launches.
Okay.
So three of those. And then when Pope John Paul II visited San Antonio in 1987, I remember when that happened, he was commissioned to do something for them.
That's cool.
So very demure, very mindful, very classy.
Very classy.
I love James Avery.
It is. All of the designs are such timeless designs. They don't feel trendy.
It's artesian. It's still in the artesian.
And you feel like you got something that, and it's not super expensive, but you feel like you've got something you can hand down that the next generation. It's very good stuff.
I have several or a lot. I have a James Avery charm bracelet. I have a lot of James Avery items, but my friend TJ in Dallas, his mother was one of the original jewelry designers that worked for him. And he gave me a couple of classic pieces, which I am very excited to hold in my possession.
That's
from
cool.
the 60s.
Yeah. Holly has a bunch of their charms. She's got the charm bracelet and she's collected those and she loves them. It's like one of her favorite things to do.
My favorite necklace besides this necklace I'm wearing right now is a cross necklace, and it's made out of dogwood flowers, and it's from James Avery, and it was given to me when I was a teenager. My mom gave it to me. And the dogwood flower is the flower of Christ. And so when you take it apart, it's like there's like a cross in the middle of the dogwood flower, and I love that necklace. And so there's a lot of dogwood stuff within his
and they have a store right over there in Bell Tower Shopping Center, and Holly and I go over there all the time. So
but 70 years, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So Texas tradition jeweler.
There you go. Yeah. So I've got two quick stories I want to run through real quick. In the last week or so, both presidential candidates, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, have put out a proposal to make tips non-taxable.
Oh, I forgot to put up my tip jar today, too. I was going to put it on.
So there's been some memes that have come out, and one of them was from a barber, and it said, haircuts, $5, and suggested tip, $35. You think about it.
Oh, that's
you pay
smart.
tax on the $5, but you don't pay tax on the $35.
Could I just be paid in tips from now on?
Yes, I'll pay you in tips.
That's a great idea.
You do one piece of paperwork, I'll pay you $1, and then I'll tip you $500 for that.
I will. That's deal.
Yeah, but this is such a gimmick. Both parties should be ashamed because this is a gimmick. It's been
genius.
Well, it could be genius, but it's been suggested that it's going to cost anywhere from $100 to $110 billion in lost tax revenue over the next 10 years.
I can also tell you what's costing. Never mind. $110,000 or $110 billion in lost revenue, but we're not going to talk about that because I'm going to be very demure and very mindful.
Very classy. Yeah, there's $38 billion a year in reported taxes each year, which probably means that unreported tips are probably about double that already. But I don't see how this is going to work. I think the system will be, people always find loopholes to make these tax things work in their favor. And that's a pretty easy one to work around. I mean, what would stop me from saying, hey, my commission to sell your house is a 1.5%, but you could tip me 1.5%. There would be no reason.
That's friggin' genius.
But you don't have to be a genius to come up with that. That's pretty, it's like the first thing that pops into my head if you're not taxing tips, okay?
I never thought about that angle. Statute of limitations have now worn out on me, but when I used to wait tables back in the late 80s, early 90s, when you would wait tables and all your tips, nobody freaking had credit cards back then. And if they did, you had that little, machine that you had to do. So I would always say that they would say, this is where you report your tips. I was like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
I make $2.15 an hour waiting tables.
Yeah.
Oh, I only got $20 in tips today. Like, why would I report it?
Yeah.
So
especially if they're leaving cash on the table. That's what most of the time.
So if let's say I found $100 on the ground. I'm just walking and I found a $100 bill. Per the government right now, the IRS, should I report that $100?
Geez, you need to ask a CPA. I don't think so. It's not income, but I don't know. I think it's a great idea. So what if
you
were walking along and I found $1 million just laying on the sidewalk? Would I have to pay income tax?
Jimmy Hoffa is right there.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's going to be interesting. One of the things I want to point out is the next presidential election is going to be very important because the 2017 tax cuts are going to expire in 2025. And it looks like if you don't think you're paying enough taxes now, you wait. You're going to be paying a bunch. And so it's real important to pay attention to the tax propositions that both parties are putting up and vote for the ones that are going to tax us less because I think we're all feeling the pinch of how much we pay in taxes.
I know.
Gosh, especially property taxes.
I know. It's just like you go to the grocery store. Remember you'd go to H-E-B and you'd have like a whole cart full and you'd be like, $130. Awesome. And now you go to H-E-B and you just got the little front part of your buggy filled up.
I know.
And it's
you get 3 bags of groceries. Yeah, and it's $130.
You're like, where did this happen?
Yeah, I know. I didn't even buy any wine or anything. No. We're running out of time, but I got one more story kind of piggybacking on what I just talked about. there's a trend right now that people that are going on dating sites, people are asking, I like the way this person looks. Let me ask them their credit score. And or the person is putting on their profile, here's me. I like walks on the beach with my dog, blah, 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 blah. And my credit score, my FICO score is 775. And that is more attractive to some people because they know that if they get hooked up with that person, not necessarily wealthy, because a good FICO score, a good credit score doesn't mean you're wealthy, but it does probably mean you're pretty good at managing your money.
Well, I think it's piggybacking because now when people apply for jobs, they are pulling your credit.
Yeah.
And
they do it when you apply for insurance.
When you apply for insurance. So why not? I mean, I think we have a bunch of freeloading Gen Z millennials out there. Not all. And I'm going to preface that. Not my kids aren't freeloading, but I think there's a lot of people that expect a lot of handouts, and they don't like. Oh, my credit limit's $5,000, which means I can spend $5,000. No, that's not what that means. So I think there's a real disconnect between what credit is and.
It's cracked me up that. And I'm not going to go too far down that rabbit trail, but in school, they teach you a lot of stuff you'll never use in your life, but they don't teach you how to manage your credit or run a bank account. It's like that's every kid that graduates from high school should know that.
Well, if you grew up Baptist like I did and you got an allowance, you had to put 10% in your piggy bank into tithing.
Yeah.
But,
so some of the comments about this have been, some people have said, I don't want to be reduced to a number.
Well,
and then some people have accused the people of asking of being gold diggers. I don't feel like they're being gold diggers.
No.
I feel like if I'm going to meet you for a date and see if we're a fit, I want to know that you're not just there, like thinking of me as somebody that could pay your bills for the future.
Yeah.
I want to know that you're coming to the date with some resources and that maybe we could partner up and be better together. I don't want to feel like
what a boomer statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Ask for the credit score. You know why? Because it's very demure, very mindful.
Very classy. And on that note,
we're going to have wonderful Stacey join us in here.
Who's very demure.
Very demure, very hippie.
Stacey Hogge's going to join us here in a second. We're going to take a little break. Sit tight.
Are you tired of being left in the dark when the power goes out? Say goodbye to blackouts with Nomic Power Solutions.
As your full-service Generac dealer, they offer individually designed backup power solutions.
From start to finish, they've got you covered.
Nomic Power Solutions, keeping you powered up.
Call or text 512-387-4232 or visit nomicpower.com. Follow on Instagram at Nomic Power for updates.
Nomic Power Solutions. Protect your home, protect your family, stay ready. Proudly sponsored by...
At Capital Farm Credit, they understand that owning land is more than just a transaction. It's a legacy, a future, and a place to call your own.
For generations, Capital Farm Credit has been the trusted lending partner for land loans, farmers, ranchers, and rural dreamers just like you.
Their personalized loan solutions cater to your unique needs, making the journey to land ownership smoother than ever.
Capital Farm Credit, your land, your legacy. Visit CapitalFarmCredit.com or Mark Rutledge at 512-892-4425.
Capital Farm Credit, an equal credit housing lender.
Interior design should be an investment in your life and home. Let M. Elliott Studio transform your space, where interior design meets excellence in Central Texas.
Beyond just selecting colors and furnishings, team principal and owner, Montana Elliott, is a trained and licensed interior designer.
With her knowledge of architectural principles, building codes, space planning, and design theory, her team will work with you to understand your needs and lifestyle.
From concept to completion, M. Elliott Studio is committed to enhancing your space with a timeless and classic style.
Ready to redefine your space?
melliottstudio.com, 512-781-0224.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Mallet Integrity Team of real estate professionals. They are based in Dripping Springs and bring you over 45 years of combined experience helping people reach their hill country real estate dreams. When you want the best in town, call them at 512-829-2062 or look them up at malletintegrityteam.com. And now, here's Steve and Michelle.
And welcome back. We are here with Stacey Hogge of Vista West Ranch, 12 Fox Creek House. What else have you done? You've done the pedal pushers. What else? The wellness retreats. Just keeps going on and on and on.
I'm a little crazy.
Welcome to the show, Stacey. We were having a lot of fun catching up right before we went on the air. But thank you for coming in.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You've been here forever, Dripping Springs. Your roots run deep.
Are you
here.
born and raised?
No, I was born in Fredericksburg, raised in Kerrville. My parents did like a 1.5-year stint in Beaumont and then moved back to Dripping Springs when I was in high school.
Okay. And then
You went to high.
It was literally like a one stoplight place.
So did you graduate from Dripping
Yes.
High? Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep.
You don't have to tell us what year that was.
I will. 91. I don't care.
91? Oh, God.
89.
See?
Youngsters.
What were you, like
81.
74?
81.
74?
81. And when your parents moved you from Fredericksburg, they bought the property out here that you and Joe now own?
Yes. So they moved us actually from Beaumont.
Okay.
My dad had a crazy asthma attack there, and they said he needed to get out of the nasty pollution.
Oh, yeah.
And so they needed to be near a clean town, if you will. And so Austin was kind of the good metropolitan area for his business. He was in telecommunications. And so Dripping Springs worked out to be a small town, which is what my mom really wanted, but yet close enough to Austin for the airport and for travel.
But they bought that original property that you live on right now, too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. My mom, they drove out there. It was a dirt road, 4.5 miles of a whole lot of washboard.
From 290, it was dirt road. From 290,
it was a dirt road. And they pulled up to the fence, and my mom, who, I don't know, maybe she's a hippie now that I see it as an adult, but she got out and she took off her shoes and stood in the ground at the gate. You couldn't see anything but cedar and big trees, and like put her hands out and said, "This is it."
Oh, that's hippie right there, Stacey.
She grounded herself.
She grounded
right there.
herself and said, "This is it." And us kids, I think our eyes got the size of dollar coins.
Yeah.
Like, here in the middle of nowhere.
And then you built a house. Your folks built a house there?
Yes. Yeah. They built a house. This was in 88. In 91, that house burned to the ground. My senior year, right before I graduated
Was
in
there a
April.
lightning strike?
No. It was actually like a weird, we had propane or natural gas, and there was some kind of backflow that happened. Sears had been out to work on the water heater, and it blew up the house.
No.
Yeah.
Was anybody hurt?
Our animals, but other than that, yeah, we lost our animals, but we didn't lose humans. Like I was at drills, I was a high stepper, so I was at school. My brothers were in sports, they were at school.
Wow.
My mom worked in downtown Austin, and my dad was building a spec home in Sunset Canyon.
Lucky nobody was there. That's crazy. Wow.
So how was that? Pulling
I know,
up
because
and
Michelle, right before you came here, Stacey, Michelle's going to have to redo her kitchen, and she's freaked about that. So I can't even imagine all the gyrations of moving. Well, not moving because the house is burned down, but where you live and
your
building a new
shit
house.
is like 2 miles down the road.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Did you have to go pick through and try to salvage anything?
Some was salvageable.
Did it burn right to the ground?
It pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
The bus drivers who saw it at the 4-way stop of Fitzhugh and McGregor, she saw flames and she called it in because there was nobody out here. And she called it into the volunteer fire department, and basically they just kind of had to watch it burn.
Make sure it didn't spread. Wow. That's
Wow. We have a lot in common. My house didn't burn to the ground, but it did catch on fire twice in one night.
Is that me?
That is you, Mallet. Well, guys,
Forgot
you
to
are.
put it on Do Not Disturb again.
We had during our
terrible.
monologue, Steve's phone was going off like 9 times, and now we should have answered that call on the air.
It was a crazy lady, Stacey. I should have answered. It would have been content gold, but anyway, we avoided it.
We'll talk about it at the next.
Yeah.
Well, if you write her name down, if she calls, I'll push answer
Answer
the next time I see her pop up.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
So where did you guys live in the interim, though, when you were...
So my parents, luckily, I mean, I graduated the next month, but my parents bought 2. So they put us, our family, on I-35 and 71. There was like a suites, I don't know what it was, like a hotel that was like a long-term hotel. But my parents had to drive, my mom had to drive us out here, then go back to school. And so they bought 2 Airstreams and put them in an L shape where the current house is, or where the kitchen and master bedroom area is. And then my uncles and all of my dad's friends like band together and built that. Did you stay the night there? I think y'all did.
No, I didn't stay the night.
Creek House
The
or
kids,
Vista?
the kids
Vista.
did. The kids
so
did.
the tree house.
Yes, I know.
My mom was like, "You will not take any trees from the property. Figure out how to put the house nestled in the trees where we don't lose a tree, blah, blah, blah." So it's went 3 stories up, tall and skinny, so that that's why we call it the tree house, so that my mom could have her trees.
That's funny.
Yeah, the kids. So my middle one, was married at Vista West. And
It was a beautiful wedding.
it was beautiful. And thank goodness, because most of the people in the wedding were military, thank goodness they stayed on site. And then it ended up where Joe, her husband, starts partying with them at midnight. So it was like they were.
I think that was the latest I've stayed out in about 10 years. I stayed up till like 11 o'clock that night.
That was a busy
My
night.
body didn't know what was going on.
That was a busy night.
It was fun.
So
Well,
did
the boys were like, to us, like our
I know.
children.
Yeah.
all the
So
kids.
all the boys were back. It was like a little reunion.
When you guys moved, so you met Joe. How old were you when you met Joe?
21.
21. And then he was in the military. You
You
guys
met him in the military?
I met him in San Antonio.
Oh, okay.
I was the
Sorry.
7th wheel.
and
That's a great story someday.
we'll say it.
No,
Someday
it's long.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Maybe we'll have a whole episode
But
on
it's
it then.
awesome.
But he's in the military. Then you guys get stationed kind of all over, right? And notably Germany is where you guys picked up the love of beer. And but in the meantime, your parents are still living here and they are building up the property,
Correct.
right? And the barn.
Was it a wedding venue
No.
then? No. When you say
No.
building up, what
Like,
does that mean?
just outbuildings and
Yeah. Ironically, like where the venue is now was actually our garden. So the only thing left is that big pear tree in the front that my grandmother was determined my parents plant because it makes great pears and they're actually terrible, but we kept it. They're the Bartlett pears, so they're really hard.
Oh, yeah.
So we kept it and kind of joke about it every year. It's like our little ode to Meemaw.
Is it that tree or the big that tree right there?
Yep.
Oh, wow. So you guys come back. I'm using you guys a lot. You guys come back and you buy the wedding venue, or at the time it wasn't a wedding venue. You buy the property from your parents as an
Which was the house and this barn, right?
No, so we came back and I started pedal pushers in where Joe's and my reception is, which is the bunkhouse.
Okay.
So that's where my flower shop started in 2001, right after 9/11. And about a year in, I realized that girls were showing up with like white knuckles and where the heck am I going? Because back then there wasn't wedding anything out here really, like nothing. And so they kept saying they wanted to get married there because we had this beautiful garden. And of course, my mom and I love flowers. So it was all floral lined and just beautiful. And so I was like, we're onto something. Like, let's really consider this. And I was in the floral world. So I was doing about 100 to 120 weddings a year, designing them. So I'm going to all these venues around Austin and there wasn't a barn.
Yeah.
What kind of facilities were they then? They were
Hotels.
Oh, okay.
A lot of hotels. I think maybe the only one that and it doesn't exist anymore, that maybe would have fallen in the line of like Rustic Elegant at the time would have been Cali Kate out on 967, which is not there anymore.
Okay.
It's like, I think it's a school now or something. So anyway, we talked about it. My dad thought we were crazy. My mom and I convinced him to take that property and strategically place a barn there. My mom's like, if we're going to do it, I want it to be a mock-up of the barn I played in on our ranch growing up. So that's what we did.
That's cool.
And that's the
barn.
reception, the barn.
Mm-hmm. Of course, it's windows and not haylofts, but you know, the concept, the overall shape is that. And also, what's really cool is they got to go back and get the tin and some wood from the old ranch because the barn had dilapidated. And so on the inside, we have some really cool, hardy, healthy. Not healthy. That's not the word. Strong tin on the inside walls.
Yeah, the picture that Michelle just got rid of for some reason. That shows a bunch of the rusted tin. Is that rusted tin on the outside from the old barn?
Actually, it's the inside roof or the inside eaves that's from the old barn.
Okay.
And it's the ones that look the best, ironically.
Yeah, that was a beautiful haul.
And the more it ages, the more beautiful it gets. And you guys were kind of one of the OG wedding venues.
Yes, the only person before us, or the only business that was a wedding out here before, or like this type of thing before us, was the Terrace Club. Yeah.
And so, from where you were back then to where you are now, there was a sweet middle spot where weddings were booming every single weekend.
What year was this?
I mean, all the way. Our very
COVID,
first,
right?
literally, our first year, my mom thought we were going to just have a few weddings, and I booked 58.
What year?
In 2007.
Oh my gosh!
And
it was just
kept
over
growing
100.
and growing and growing. And I guess what I really liked about your venue, because we toured a lot of venues, what I really loved about your venue is that we could bring our outside caterer. We could bring outside vendors where we weren't stuck to kind of pigeonhole to the people that you said, no, they have their preferred vendors, that are used to things. But I mean, of course, we used Pigpen probably at all three kids' weddings.
The food was really
Well,
good.
why not, right?
Yeah,
if you know it and it works, they're on our preferred vendor list. So.
Yes, and it was great. And then actually, Stacey was so sweet when I was having issues with shall remain unnamed wedding venue, Kendall's wedding, and she helped me navigate through that kind of hot mess. But COVID kind of just put the brakes on all of that, right?
We had to move 61 weddings.
Oh my gosh!
And you average that out about 10,000-ish a wedding. Had 3 people sue us.
Because you couldn't have a wedding,
Right. And we offered them, a new date, but they didn't want it. They just wanted to lawyer up and get their money back.
Did they want to have the wedding on the date that they chose, even though the state wasn't allowing it?
No, because they just didn't. They said that their families were not willing to participate, and they didn't want to have it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, and we had a clause in there, to that said unforeseen, we would give them a new date. We didn't ever foresee COVID, obviously.
No,
Right.
who did? Yeah.
No.
Did they win? Did you win?
I ended up giving them their money back. It was very frustrating. I was already so stressed. I didn't want another fight.
Yeah.
And although in my heart of hearts, I know it wasn't the best decision, I probably should have stuck to my contract, because then you're kind of, anyway,
You
know
open
how
up a
contracts
door
are. You
for
open up
other-
a door,
yeah.
absolutely.
So in the way weddings went, it seems like it was growing right up till 2020, and then obviously went in the toilet.
Yes.
But then when they allowed you guys to open back up, were those couple years the best years you ever had?
No, they
Really?
actually, here's the trick of it. So not only did we lose those, 61 dates, those 59 dates actually took dates I couldn't sell in 2021 and 2022. So you also then move that many people to a new date that you cannot sell. So it was kind of a double whammy, if you will. And I just think that COVID actually made people realize maybe they don't have to have a fancy wedding.
But that didn't happen right away then, because it seemed, at least to us, that for a couple years, people were insane about how much they were spending on weddings. Or did I miss that completely?
I think it just varied. There's just a lull that's happening now, and I don't know that it's necessarily specifically because of weddings. I think it's mainly because of economy.
Yeah, the economy's hurt.
People are holding
Everybody's
on to
hurting.
their money.
Yeah.
What are the biggest changes that you're seeing right now in the decisions that brides are making towards their weddings? Like, what are they cutting back on?
People.
Really?
The number of
Less people.
or the
Less
number
people.
of people that attend, yeah.
I mean, in all reality, I tell people when I'm talking to them, especially if they're like, well, we're going to have 300 people. And I'm like, so we are max at 250. So I don't know if we're going to be a good fit for you. But as a mom, I'm going to put on my mom hat real quick. And I'm going to say, if you can just look at everybody that you're inviting, and you put $100 bill on their forehead, and you say to yourself, are they in my cell phone? Do I talk to them regularly? And would I spend $100 with them for a dinner? Would I pay for them $100 to go have dinner with me?
Mm-hmm.
And if you say
and if you say no, then they probably need to be culled. Like, they need to be pulled from your guest list, and be real honest with yourself, because social media has created such a weird dynamic that you feel obligated to invite people
That you're just an acquaintance with.
Right.
See, that for me, kind of an outside looking in, that's what I was seeing was everybody wanted to have a better wedding than a wedding that they saw before, maybe that their friends had or that they saw online, and it escalated to where, I mean, some of the numbers we were hearing, like $100,000, $120,000, like.
Yeah, but I don't
wedding?
think that's our people.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I don't know. Like, even we had an NFL kicker that had his wedding at our place, and they spent $50,000.
Yeah, still $50,000.
Which is a
That's
lot.
a down payment on a really nice house.
Right. But
You know,
the
to
average, I feel
kickstart
like,
your
is
life together.
25 to 30.
Yeah, that's probably give or take what I spent on 3 weddings in 18 months.
Yeah. Oh, Mama, I know. I don't know how you did it.
3 weddings in 18 months, and every single one of them was totally, completely
just crazy,
different.
to me.
But now, so you've shifted your business model from just weddings to wellness retreats and corporate retreats, and
that started
How's
in
that
2020.
Yeah.
Ironically. Like,
really,
that started in fall of
And
2020.
how did you come about saying, okay, we need to diversify a little bit? Was it because the weddings started to slow down and you thought, how else can we get revenue? Or did some event happen and you went, oh, this is a great idea?
Because I'm a hippie and I love wellness.
Yeah.
Okay, well, tell us about that.
And
Tell us about the wellness
I
thing.
sent Joe on a wellness retreat.
Okay.
Joe was dealing with TBIs, and as much as he would never admit PTSD, I think that it does tinker in there.
Yeah.
But I wanted a husband that could be fully present, and I didn't think that as an outsider looking in, he wasn't dealing with my dad's death. He had a lot of guilt involved in that because he was helping him build the Creek House when it happened. And then he wasn't dealing with my mom's death, and my siblings were a challenge, I should say. And so I just wanted my husband back. And so I sent him on a wellness retreat, highly encouraged it. He accepted it, did it. And it changed everything. And so I wanted to really create, I feel like that weddings are great, but I feel like I'm dealing with an age group that's a little more entitled and doesn't understand like life. And when I'm meeting these professional companies that are taking care of healing people of all ages, there's something so absolutely important and beautiful about that. And it really draws me in.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's a bunch of different ones, but what is a wellness retreat? Like, why did Joe come back better? What did they do there?
Because Joe went on a psilocybin journey.
Oh, tell us about that.
Life-changing.
I was just listening to Joe Rogan this
Life-changing.
morning. He was talking about that, and he says the same thing. So what is a psilocybin?
Well, I mean, I think
retreat?
people probably do these things for fun, and that's, up to them. But I think if you are truly using the medicine with intention and in the right set and setting, you are setting your body up to heal. One of the beautiful things about psilocybin is that it opens up your neurotransmitters in your brain. And it allows your body, when you have trauma, those transmitters stop and they're blocked. And so it opens up that trauma spot and actually allows it to heal and to start to regrow. So that's why it's really good for PTSD and for TBIs, because a lot of shooting, and Joe was he played with dynamite a lot.
Yeah.
And so for him with explosives, it's just constant TBIs, right? And so it allows, that's just like little nicks, if you will, away from your full brain capacity. So it allows those nicks to actually open up and regenerate and start to heal.
Wow. Have you done this?
I have.
Is it something you do once and then things are changed, or is it something you do a few times? Is it different?
I think it honestly depends on your willingness to take it serious.
Okay.
And it's all in a controlled environment. So you have I don't know if they're called moderators, but you have somebody that is there monitoring you to help you through what are they called? The guide.
They're shamans that are there because it's a spiritual medicine, and I feel like that it's so life-changing. You know, ironically, we own a brewery, and after Joe came back from that, he barely drinks anything. He just tastes it to quality control it, but has no desire to like sit and drink a beer. Sadly, he stopped drinking coffee too.
Oh God, kill me now.
Maybe we can get Steve on this sugar kick too.
Yeah.
Oh, you won't crave a lot of things. Your body's almost like pure again, if that makes any sense.
That's wild.
So a lot of your cravings dissipate.
So he had the heart thing happen a couple years ago, right? Mm-hmm. Was the psilocybin event, retreat before or after that?
The psilocybin retreat was in 2020, and he had the heart thing in 2023. Part of me thinks...
oh gosh, I thought it was longer ago than that. Okay, 2023. Okay.
And that was just stress. It was actually stress-induced.
Oh, I believe it, yeah.
Even the doctor said so.
Yeah. But he's doing a lot better now.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. Yeah. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Just being around Joe now, he wasn't a high-strung person just from the outward.
But he was grumpy. Or could be.
But just his energy now is just such a peace. Like you could feel like you could just sit in silence with him.
Yeah. Do you think that's because he's had an event where his life was in jeopardy, and now he's like, whoa, I got a second chance?
Absolutely. I also think, and he said this immediately, when he was crashing, he actually is so grateful that he learned meditation, and that because of going through, because that's part of what they train you after doing these treatments.
Yeah.
So he was like, he literally went into box breathing while he was under. Like he heard the doctor saying, oh no, that's too far. And his brain was immediate. He was like, okay, you've got to focus. And like, he just went into like straight box breathing and forcing himself to breathe. He's like, you're not going to live if you don't.
Wow. Jeez.
Isn't it interesting?
Yeah.
I've participated in a wellness retreat that they had. It was a couples massage workshop.
A lot.
No, it was a couples workshop.
We're going to do another one.
Good. Yeah, it was really cool.
So they're not all these psilocybin.
Well, we don't do
retreats?
psilocybin in Texas.
No.
Okay.
It's illegal.
Oh, it's illegal. Okay.
Right,
So
yeah.
these retreats, then there's what, yoga and...
Ironically, there's some breathing retreats that we have where they're doing breath work that will literally put your body into a healing state.
Really?
It's kind of freaky.
Yeah.
But yes, it works.
I want to know about this.
I'm
one.
going to
sure
need
you do.
the erotic, sensual,
3-day
feminine.
erotic embodiment, sensual, feminine retreat. No men allowed.
Yes.
Do you want to?
So this lady actually goes all over the world. And she's out of Houston, Texas. And her biggest thing is helping women actually learn to love themselves again.
Really?
Because so often you get busy being a mom and are aging, and you pick at yourself. Like you focus on all your negative, anything you can find. And her biggest thing is to get your brain back to loving you, because when you love you, then it's easy to love everybody else.
I see that a lot in people where they feel like all they are is somebody or something that provides for all the people around them, and they get bitter about that, and then they kind of hate their lives a little bit.
Yeah.
And if they can realize how valuable they are and that people are coming to them because they are so valuable and they're so needed, that's a pretty cool thing. And it's just kind of a different point of view.
And it's not like love yourself in an egotistical way. It's like find time for you. Like self-care is huge.
Well, you mentioned that in your bio that I think you said you have a hard time finding time for taking care of yourself. But how do you do it now? How do you take care of yourself? And how do you find time?
She hosts wellness retreats.
It forced me to have to. No, actually, weirdly enough, when you say I host them, I help these coaches with exposure, but they're running the show, and really, I just am there. I'm there if they need me.
So I was going to ask you that. Even when you have a wedding or you have a retreat, you're basically what you're providing is a facility. How much work is it for you once you rent the facility? Are you going around making sure everything's okay and really involved in minute by minute, or are you kind of just there in case they need you?
It depends. Okay. For the weddings, there's they have to have a day of coordinator. So there's a point of contact that can reach us at any given time.
Okay.
For the wellness retreats, they're professionals. These are people that do this for a living.
But you're also a participant in a lot of these wellness. So you're not only, this is you're hosting. Right. When I say hosting, your venue is hosting this event, but you also participate.
I do I love the sound journeys.
Yes.
I don't know what a sound journey is. Got to tell me what that is.
We will have to expose you.
I think he would really, I think you'd dig it.
Can you tell me what it is?
No, it's secret. It's a secret
Google
sound journey.
Sound journey.
So essentially our bodies are predominantly water, and frequency controls everything in our body, right? So sound bowls are actually all on different frequencies that help different parts of your 7 chakras. So there's like the heart frequency.
Okay.
And so they're playing these crystal sound bowls that are all tuned to your body. Huh. And I always call it like a massage for your mitochondria. Because it's like literally it is massaging, you're laying there, but it's generating, shaking, and massaging your body's cells.
So nobody's touching you.
Nobody touches you.
You're just laying there, and
you literally are laying. Mm-hmm.
And the reverberations from the music. Wow, that's pretty wild.
And that was funny because you go, somebody's touching you.
I know. This is where you needed to have some video.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yes.
I love that you're diversifying like this, because I think there's a lot of wedding venues here in Dripping that are freaked right now and they don't know what to do.
I'm a think on your feet kind of person, but I was already doing this, starting this, if you will, behind the scenes. Like I didn't have a page for it on my website, but word travels fast if you have a really cool spot that works well for serenity and relaxation. Yeah. And I just feel like that our venues really cater to that.
They do, yeah. They're very peaceful, beautiful places. So we talked a little bit about wedding venues going downhill. Do you think part of it was that Dripping Springs got saturated with wedding venues?
Yes.
Yeah.
Saturated, and corporations have come in and bought multiple venues.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. And when they do that, they own them all over the United States, so they can take a loss. So they drop their price points, and then they screw basically all the mom and pops because they're coming in and offering something that can't be done because they can take a loss for a few years.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy. That's why I support local.
We experienced that a little bit because Kendall or Logan's and Tate's, those were mom and pop. Those were locally owned. The third one was more of a corporate kind of, they had several of them, and it was a very impersonal experience. And I about lost my marbles.
I sometimes wonder if, I think one of the best things the Chamber ever did was come up with the Dripping Springs Wedding Capital of Texas. I think that was brilliant.
Best and worst.
But I also think it pigeonholed us a little bit too. It's like, because I have a couple short-term rentals, and it's like, if they're not coming here for weddings, what else are we talking about in Dripping Springs that makes people come here? And there's a lot of other things, but I feel like we kind of just gloss over that.
Well, I think it's because of the amount of money that was coming in every single weekend from weddings.
Yeah.
And not just from the weddings, but from all their guests. But I also, they just came up with Brew City, Texas.
Oh, really?
They just...
For Dripping?
For Dripping Springs.
Did not know that.
Yes, Brew City, Texas. There's several of them across Texas, and Dripping Springs was just designated as one.
This was the thing where everybody was going around. You bought tickets or something,
No, that was
right?
the Ale Olympics.
Okay.
But
Ale
it was...
Olympics, that's
it was very... I mean, they're trying. I really feel like the city of Dripping Springs, or at least Destination Dripping Springs, which is now part of the city, they merged. I feel like they're really trying to help the small businesses be able to... make things work here.
Yeah.
They don't want to see business leave or fail.
No, I know that. I just wonder, sometimes I think that maybe they went so far all in on the wedding capital of Texas that they forgot there's, a dozen other reasons to come to Dripping that we could have focused on a little bit.
Right. Well, and I think the beauty of that too is that, yes, it's the wedding capital of Texas. And if we don't have those thousands upon thousands of people influx here on the weekends, these businesses on Mercer Street and wouldn't have that additional transient business.
Right, right.
I see that at the brewery. I thought, I'm going to be able to follow the numbers and know who I need to market to and how I should do it. It's so transient that it's crazy.
That's what Pigpen, that's what William, I was thinking of his
Mr. Bill.
Mr. Bill.
That's what he says about a lot of his business is very transient. And so it is hard to kind of market locally.
I think the Chamber and Destination Dripping Springs has woken up, though, that they need to diversify a little bit because they're doing some things.
Tell me, in your 12 Fox, we've made a decision as a family this year. We've gone to Worst Fest for many, many, many years. And we were talking about it. And we said, are we going to get a group? We're going to go to Worst Fest? And I said, no, it's freaking miserable. I don't want to go to Worst
Where's
Fest.
That?
In New Braunfels. I want to go to 12 Fox because I feel like they put on a much better production and show, and it's personal, and you're not...
neighbors are there.
Well, you're not waiting an hour and a half to find a parking spot. You're not waiting 2 hours to get a beer.
Right.
It's insanity. But the things that you guys do, it's very participatory and the Steinhold and the barrel rolls and the puppets, or not puppets, what is it called?
It's basically puppeteer, but
that's cool.
It's so cool. You guys obviously are doing that again this year.
Course.
What are the dates for that?
It's going to be the last weekend of September and the first weekend of October.
Last weekend of September. You've got to go out there, even if you don't drink.
You
really do.
I hate to say this. I've never been to 12 Fox.
I can't believe that.
What the hell's wrong with you?
I've never been there.
You're not the only one. I'm very surprised. I feel like I'm constantly marketing, and I'm like, how do these people find us?
Yeah.
Because they'll be...
I know it's there. I haven't had any... I mean, I've had reasons to go, but we're always doing different things.
Well, especially when she has market days and stuff like that, when they have all the shops.
Well, that's... Stacey, you're in charge of all the marketing, right?
Yes.
So, and you were just talking about, looking at the numbers and targeting demographics and everything, but what is working for you and what has been a complete waste of time on
it's
the
a
market?
Complete shit show.
Is it?
I never know what's going to work. I throw things out there.
See if it works.
Yeah, it's like throwing spaghetti on a wall and seeing what sticks. I've tried paid marketing. It's so weird.
Are you talking about paid on social media? We've tried that. I swear, to me, that feels like I just flush a $20 bill down the toilet. It's like,
without a doubt.
You know what was funny?
I don't know if it pays off or not.
Mother's Day, I went to Mother's Day. We sat with her, and I spent all day out there, and they had this beautiful brunch that one of the food trailers was putting on amazing food. So she was posting, I was posting. Good friends of ours, Laura and Brad, went out there. By the time we posted, and I mean, and our reach is like this small, right? They ran out of food because they had so many people that came out there, and so it's kind of crazy to think that how are you marketing to people? It's Mother's Day. You'd think they're not gonna go to a brewery, right? They did. They came out in droves.
Are you always trying to come up with new events, or do you have some that are tried and true and you just do those every year?
I have some that are tried and true, for sure. But I like new events. We're out in the middle of nowhere. And honestly, if we don't have 2 events a month, we're closing our doors.
Really?
Like, it just doesn't,
So the events drive the business.
Yes, because we're a destination brewery.
How did you feel that your July 4th went? Because I thought it went amazing.
I think it went amazing, too. Hindsight, I probably would have had the second bar open, but it was one of those things like it was 7:30 and really hardly anybody was there. At 7:45, it
All
was
of a
like
sudden.
it was like a football game getting out at Dripping Springs High School. It was like
They all came.
people.
Yep.
You know, so it was like it takes a few minutes to get that other bar open and positioned and ready to go. So I was like, what do we do? So we just added more people and started just grabbing, people from the line and taking orders before they ever made it to the
Like
to
a
the cash
Chick-fil-A.
register. Yes, like Chick-fil-A. We were doing a Chick-fil-A moment. Hey, it worked. I mean, I think the longest somebody had to wait was just under 15 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad.
So, I mean, and they're talking to their neighbors. So basically, here's my thing. I love community. Joe loves community. And we want to do things that bring community together.
It's very evident because Joe's like the 12 Fox mayor. Like, he's never sitting. He's always wandering around, especially when you're having a big event. So he's always going around and he's working the room and working the whole area. You have a playground out there, and I saw that there was some. Was that a discussion to have a playground to bring parents
Never.
out there, or was it out of necessity because these kids are climbing up your trees?
No,
and
it was from the beginning. We were going to be a family-focused brewery, period. If people didn't like that, if beer drinkers didn't want to have family around, there's a lot of places that they can go. We loved how Germany had their dogs and they had their kids. And
So you took the model from a German brewery and brought it to Dripping Springs.
yes. And I was unapologetic about it.
Yeah.
And I was gone actually when Joe built the monstrous playscape. I was like, I came back and I was like, oh, you built what you always wanted.
We told Joe that we want a lazy river.
Oh,
Because it
jeez.
was
Wouldn't
really
that be
hot.
amazing?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
would
we're
be.
just sit in the river and we'll
Careful
just
what you wish for.
Nope. Joe already said no. The insurance would be too insane, and he doesn't want to be responsible for something happening to a
Joe's
kid.
Yeah,
boring.
you'd have a
That's-
lifeguard. You'd have to have lifeguards.
That's why
on
we
duty.
have you here today, because Joe's boring and it's dream killer.
And I'm a dreamer.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, you too. I could see it. Yeah.
Yeah, he loves it when we're around.
It's like, oh crap, they're together again.
So you built these great businesses out there, and that kind of changed a little bit of the dynamic of the area. Like Vista West Ranch was on a dirt road, and now there's a lot more stuff out there. Have you ever had any problems with any of the neighbors complaining?
Really, the interesting thing is we just had, when we built the Creek House, our neighbors next door to us were kind of jerks for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
But did they calm down after a while, or did they move?
They've calmed down. They haven't moved. They're still just like every once in a while, they'll just bubble up.
pop
like,
their head up.
I'm like, oh, is it a full moon? Now they have to be all weird. So, yeah, but for the most part, it is very peaceful out there.
It all stemmed from a helicopter incident, right?
It all stemmed from a helicopter landing, and that put them, one of our bride and grooms wanted to have a helicopter entrance, and that flipped them out. And they've never been the same
understood
again.
this because, yes, maybe it's inconvenient. Yes, maybe you didn't like it, but it only
It's
happened
45 acres.
and it happened one time. It's not like you put a helipad there where every weekend
I could if I wanted to.
Yeah, I know you could, but
I could do all kinds of terrible things, but I'm not.
I'm coming to work tomorrow in a helicopter.
Yeah, you
Just
are.
let me know how that works out. Let me know when you want me to do my rapid fire too.
Okay, I got a couple more.
Okay.
Well, you talked about one of the places that you sort of rest and recover is your garden. Mm-hmm. And how did you get into that? Is that from something from
My
your
whole
mom?
life,
Oh,
yeah.
You've been in your whole life.
Yeah,
So you just picked that up from your mom?
I wouldn't ever let it go because of them, my mom and my grandmother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this whole people that have a green thumb that can do beautiful gardens blow my mind because I try and I kill everything.
You might be trying too hard.
Maybe. Maybe that's what it is. Well,
What? Oh, that is never a true. That's the title.
thing.
That is the title of
Stop
this.
trying too hard.
You might be trying too hard.
You might be trying too hard.
So if I'm trying too hard, what's the biggest mistake people make?
Overwatering.
Overwatering. I swear, I think that is. I think that's one of my problems.
Are you paying too much attention to him, Steve?
Or maybe putting the wrong plants beside each other.
See, that's one blows my mind. I don't even know how to find that out. So I know
Why
that.
don't you just get somebody to help you?
Yeah, I know.
And then you can
I'm
actually
too
read.
stubborn.
Don't
Therein
be stubborn.
lies
That's
the
like
issue.
men asking for directions. Just come on.
See this whole studio? I learned this on YouTube. I didn't ask a single other person. I figured it out myself.
Then you better go YouTube a garden.
Yeah, I think I might have
look at
to.
you!
YouTube a garden.
You can YouTube a garden.
When
That's right.
we went to England and Scotland 2 years ago, and on at the castles, they have the most beautiful gardens you've ever seen, acres and acres of them, and it just amazes me that somebody knows which type of plants to plant, how much to water them, and they're all just full of gorgeous flowers. It's crazy.
When we were in Oregon, we were talking about this earlier. We went to that rose garden area, and there was this little old man. He was sitting on his bucket, the end of his bucket, and he just volunteered there, and he just pruned. All he did was prune. And he had a speaker clipped on him, and he just listened to music, and Todd said, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. I just want to sit on a bucket and just prune. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, now you can do your rapid fire.
Oh, okay. So I have a couple of. I'll start off. This one's probably not as rapid fire, but what was your most unique wedding there that you can think of besides the helicopter?
Besides the helicopter.
We had some people that were into anime.
Oh, really?
Yes. And then it was the first time I had ever, I walked down there and there's no music, but they're all dancing with headphones on. And I was like,
I've seen that.
silent.
Yes. I was like, these people are crazy. But the couple met online.
Oh, interesting.
And then their guests were people that are on their little, their guests met for
their
the first
virtual
time from their
world.
virtual world.
Did you have any furries?
No.
Oh, dang it. That would have been awesome. Next time, if you ever have something like that, you say, Michelle.
It was
code.
very different, right?
Code
from
furry.
my mindset.
How did
of-
they incorporate the anime? Were there characters or something?
Yes, and their decor. It was very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids these days.
Oh, okay. That was a good one. Canning or dehydrated food?
Gosh, both.
Oh, no, you have to
Depends.
choose one. Okay, I want to go. You have to put a
Canning.
canning class because you said
Yes, I want to do a canning class.
and I want to go to this canning class.
I would go to a canning class.
I definitely want to do a canning class. Yoga or meditation?
Meditation.
Okay.
I need to learn how to do that. Do you have a wellness retreat for meditation?
Yeah, every single one of them. I don't think that any of the wellness retreats that are ever put on out there don't involve some form of teaching you how to meditate. It's not hard. It's just that you have to be disciplined.
And purposeful about it. Yeah, I swear. I try. I try to even stop my brain for 30 seconds, and I can't do it.
Some people yoga and meditate.
Yeah.
Here's a good one for you. You ready? It's gonna be hard. Beer or tequila?
Tequila.
I knew it.
No way,
I
really?
knew she's a tequila girl. I knew
I
she was
love
a
beer,
tequila.
but look, I wanted 12 Fox tequila.
Yes, I think
Oh, are you guys working on it?
I don't want to do another fucking
that's about right.
I'm tapped out.
tapped out, darling.
Literally.
Because believe me, I was like, tequila. Nobody really has good tequila around here. And I went to Mexico with a group, and we got to taste all the.
You had a
small-
coffee tequila, right, or something like that?
No, I do put tequila in my coffee.
in her coffee.
Jeez, wow.
was
You
good.
should try it.
Oh,
if
he
you drink
doesn't-
coffee,
I don't drink at all. I haven't had alcohol and
He doesn't.
Well, your
can't even
body
remember
thinks
when.
He really does. I've been slipping him slow
So-
doses of alcohol.
That explains a lot too.
So if you haven't had alcohol, that's probably why you haven't been to 12 Fox. However, we have hop water, and we
What's
have
hop water?
Hop water it's called missing. It's alcohol. It's alcohol-free beer.
But it tastes like beer?
Interesting. Okay.
And if that's a gateway to get you back to drinking, then don't do that.
No.
No.
I don't have a problem with it. I've just chosen not to.
There's a
But
lot of people that
I-
don't drink that come out there just to eat and to
Yeah.
listen to music, and the
yeah.
environment's
we go
really
places
cool.
all the time with alcohol, and we just drink a sparkling water.
I drink cider. I like their cider. It's-
We have
That's
the peach
alcohol,
drifter
right?
right
yeah.
now.
Oh, it's a lot of alcohol. It's really yummy. Remember when Annie chased a feral cat and lost her wallet? That was at 12 Fox. Yeah,
okay.
that was at 12
Yeah,
Fox.
yeah.
Okay, my last question. If you I know Texas is your home. I know that you guys have lived all over the world, but if you had to move out of Texas, and also your grandbabies, shout out to your beautiful, beautiful grandbabies. If you had to move out of Texas, where would you go?
I would likely go to Tennessee because it's more free than Texas, and I'm all about freedom.
It's more free.
You think Tennessee's more free than Texas?
Yep. They did the top 5, and Tennessee was actually number 2.
Really?
Do you know what the parameters were for
gun rights, your property, government oversight was significantly lower than Texas.
Interesting.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that
there's a bunch of hillbillies that don't let it happen?
But are we failing, or do we need to catch up?
Yes, we're failing.
Oh, okay.
You know, I was just talking to somebody. We went to Nashville a few years ago, and I thought, Nashville would be kind of a cool place to retire. I actually think it's a little more expensive in Nashville than it is in Austin.
Yeah, our friends that have moved to Tennessee live about an hour. They're musicians, but they're very in line with our thoughts. And they actually moved about an hour outside of Nashville. Okay. So kind of almost Dripping Springs to Austin type of thing. So their work is in Nashville, but they live out on land, and they love it.
That might be my destination.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
Hey, one last thing, Stacey. You mentioned when you retire, which I guess keeps you up at night retiring, doesn't it?
Nothing really keeps me up at night.
Oh, well, that's good.
She sleeps.
I hit the pillow.
She's a sleeper.
1 minute, I'm out.
Yeah. I'm the same way, luckily. But you said you wanted to cruise around the world?
I do. We've talked about it since we were really young. And there's parts of the world that I wouldn't necessarily want to go drive around, but I would love to see.
Yeah.
And so I really do want to take a cruise around the world.
How long does it take to do a cruise around the world?
There's various ones. There's one that's 64 days and another one that's 128 days. They stop at more ports, obviously,
right.
and or spend more time in certain areas. But I just think it would be really cool.
I don't know if you could be away from those grandbabies for so long.
No, they're going with me. If I'm retiring and I sell all this stuff,
I'm taking
my
them
babies are going with us.
Is that your plan for retirement? To sell everything and boom, go?
Yes, because I feel like if we don't go right away, then we'll root ourselves into something else and then really not do it.
Yeah.
We want to go to Germany with Joe and Stacey.
You need to go.
That's our goal.
Yeah,
is to go.
It's always nice to go visit someplace you've never been with somebody that knows everything about it.
Well, they have family there. They have.
They're coming for Christmas. I'll make sure you meet them.
Okay, we'd love it.
And we might do an exchange student again. Victor and Leah might do it with their daughter.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That was neat.
Might have another one.
That was neat.
Wow.
It's been such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
It's been a lot of fun, and I wasn't sure what we were going to talk about, but we covered a lot of ground. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time. So thank you so much for coming on.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
If you guys think of anything else, just ask.
Oh, I will.
And come drink beer, for Pete's sakes. We need that little cute place to stay.
That's right.
Kicking.
Yeah, it's a big
come
part of town.
Come out to 12 Fox.
Make sure you support 12 Fox. Ready to turn your land dreams into reality? Look no further than Capital Farm Credit.
Need a loan for your perfect piece of land? Capital Farm Credit is there for you.
Their dedicated team will tailor a loan to fit your unique needs because your dreams are their priority.
Capital Farm Credit. Your land, your legacy. Visit capitalfarmcredit.com or Mark Rutledge at 512-892-4425.
Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better.
Capital Farm Credit, an equal credit housing lender.
Nomic Power Solutions, keeping you powered up.
Get to know your local full-service Generac dealer.
Cody and Dylan with Nomic Power Solutions are a veteran-owned, Texas-based Generac dealer and installer.
Offering low monthly payment options, it's never been easier to gain independence from the grid.
Call or text 512-387-4232 or visit nomicpower.com. Follow on Instagram at Nomic Power for updates.
Turnkey service including design, plumbing, electrical, and permits.
They even offer set-it-and-forget-it maintenance plans. Nomic Power Solutions.
Protect your home. Protect your family. Stay ready. Elevate your living experience with M. Elliott Studio. your trusted partner in interior design, registered and licensed by the state of Texas.
You want your home to reflect your personal style and identity. Investing in a well-crafted design doesn't just beautify your home, it enriches your life.
Team principal and owner, Montana Elliott, understands the profound impact of a thoughtfully designed space. From remodeling to full design, M. Elliott Studio is the first step to unlocking your style.
Turn your aspirations into reality. Tailored to your taste and desires, M. Elliott Studio will work to create an environment that embraces your style with style.
Your space, their expertise.
melliotstudio.com 512-781-0224.
This show has been brought to you in part by the real estate pros at the Mallet Integrity Team. When you're looking to buy or sell, you need them on your side. Why settle for less when you can have real estate done right? Give them a call at 512-829-2062 or get more info at malletintegrityteam.com.
You know you like us, so go now to Apple Podcast or Spotify and leave us a review. Why don't ya? We love your feedback and comments. Email us at malletandmichelle@gmail.com.
Thanks for putting up with us.